Hey everyone, so in this section we're going to be talking about what is pre-law. So many of you who are familiar with the law school admissions process probably already know this, but for those of you who are brand new to this is probably something that's kind of confused you or you'd like to know a little bit more information about this. In fact, I've heard a lot of students say that they're not going to be applying to law school because they didn't study pre-law at the undergraduate level. In fact, I've heard a lot of students say that they're studying pre-law at so-and-so institution. I'm sure you've heard a lot about this as well. One of the things that we want to actually clarify, and this is probably the biggest misconception, is the fact that pre-law itself as a major doesn't really exist. In fact, I'm sure there's some institution in the world somewhere who's actually created a major called pre-law, and they've probably taken a bunch of courses that are kind of related to the skills that you would need to do well in the LSAT as well as in law school as well, and they've kind of made the major, but the major itself is not a requirement to actually get into law school. In fact, pre-law essentially means that you're majoring in anything before you actually go to law school. In fact, it's very disingenuous to even say that you're pre-law because pre-law assumes that you're actually going to go to law school or that you've gotten into law school. Before you actually formally have a letter of admission, you're not really pre-anything. You're a hopeful law school candidate at some point in the future, but at that point in time, you're actually just an undergraduate candidate. The only exception to this might be individual programs that are kind of a bridge program between the bachelor's and JD program, so you can kind of get advanced admissions before you even finish your undergraduate degree. So in that sense, maybe somebody can say that they're pre-law because they've kind of already gotten admitted to the program that they're looking to get into. But outside of that, pre-law itself as a major isn't really anything more than just being an undergraduate student. And so if you're coming from the sciences, you're coming from an engineering field, and you're looking at the options that are available to you, you want to kind of make a switch from what you studied at the undergraduate level, and you're looking at what options are going to be available to you, unlike fields of study like medical school as an example, where you're going to have to write the MCAT and you're probably going to have quite a few courses that are related to the subject area that's going to be covered in the MCAT as well. Law school is very, very different. In fact, they're going to look largely at your undergraduate transcripts in addition to your LSAT scores and your letters of recommendation, your extracurricular activities, and all those other components to your application. But the actual major in the field of study at the undergraduate level is not something that's going to be taken into consideration nearly as much as many of the other professional schools that you might be looking at as well. And so, for those of you out there who are contemplating law school and you've thought twice about it because of the fact that you're not quote unquote pre-law, or you feel as though there's something called pre-law that's holding you back, it isn't really something that exists. And so hopefully that's added a little bit of clarification for many of you out there as well, who again, who are very familiar with this process. This is probably something that's review for you, but I thought it's something worth noting because I see many people on forums get discouraged from the law school route, particularly because there's this major misconception about this whole pre-law concept. So thank you for listening to the segment. If you appreciated it, give this a like and a subscribe. As always, thank you again. We'll see you in the next one.